Hi everyone, this is Lori from My Garden in Bloom. I garden here in Oregon in Zone 8B up by Mount Hood. It's a wonderful place to garden and to live. I was going to go ahead and do a little tour of my cottage garden that I just started this spring. So I think after I got done planting some things in it, they weren't really where I thought they would do their best, so I'll move things around. Like I said, it's just the beginning of my cottage garden, so next spring things will be a little bit different. One thing that I did change and will stay is that I put that Wigelia right in the middle there. It actually is blooming. It usually blooms really, really early spring, and it did, and it was beautiful. But look at that. It actually has some blooms on it. That is so beautiful. And then over here I have three different groups of the same kind of dahlia. They're a small border dahlia. I bought it at a nursery and they said that it was an annual. And so I planted it and it bloomed. And then the next spring it came back up. And then about 2-3 years later I dug it up and split or divided the tubers, and all of the plants all came up and they look beautiful. So I don't think that it's an annual. I have little border plants here which are lobularia, and one thing that I found out from planting them here is that they like full sun. So see how well these did here, which are in full sun. They keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller as you get over by the shade. And I actually dug a couple up and moved them over to another flower bed because they did not like being in the shade. I have added a couple of plants. Talking about things that I moved this fuchsia because it was in a deeper shade garden than this one and it was not liking it over there. I moved it over here and it just seems to really like it. I think this is its first year for being here, or actually in my garden. I think it's really going to look good next year, and especially, of course, the third year. Those are sun patience. We have a couple of different small hostas in there, and then that's a flower pot that I planted up. The plants that like it in the shade are doing well, and the other ones kind of just died off. I think I even took one plant out of there. I don't remember what it was. This is a sun patient that I had clear underneath the tree in the back, and it did not like it. Eventually stopped blooming, so I moved it here hoping that it will bud up again before fall. That's a type of a lobelia that I've never tried, and I have a little bit of a concern that I might have it in too much shade. So that might get moved. There's quite a few of my plants in here in my cottage garden that I transplanted from other places. And one of those are those Japanese irises. In the spring, they're so beautiful. So in the fall, I'll cut them down pretty close to the ground, and then they'll grow back in the spring and bloom. One plant that I was experimenting with, and I ended up really liking it, is this, let's look at the name, verbascum. Isn't that pretty? That's the second time that it's bloomed. And the first buds that were on it, the flowers, they were a lot taller than that. So I think just because of the time of the year that it is, I think it's shorter. So this spring, when it comes back, I think it'll be really tall again, so I might have it in the wrong place. I might need to plant it back there a little bit further. I have two peonies. One is Coral Sunset, and the other one is a pink variety. I don't have the tag with me, so I don't remember. There's two varieties of salvia back there, which I like one, and I don't like the other one. I don't like that purple one. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but I don't know, I just don't like the way that it blooms. Oh, and I'd like to apologize. My neighbors are out in their backyard and I can hear them talking. They're wonderful neighbors, so I don't mind that they're talking. Their daughter came over and watered my flowers when I went on vacation this summer, so that was nice. I have a rose here that did not have a tag on it at the nursery that I got it from, but I'm thinking that I call it a double delight. So here's one of the blooms. Do you think that's a double delight? Let me know in the comments. I have an osteospermum or African daisy right down here, and it was just blooming like about a week ago, just thick with blooms. But as soon as I deadhead it, it will bloom again. I have a lot of larkspur. Some of them I plant, well, these in the cottage garden, I did plant them. I started them in the house in about February, but I am letting them go to seed now. I have stopped deadheading them so that I can have seeds for next year. There's no reason to buy larkspur seeds. They reproduce profusely very easily. These ones grew all by themselves. I didn't plant those there. And also the little yellow jump ups, I didn't plant those there. They just topped over from the other garden. This is a planter that I set over here just to add something into the front of the garden. But actually what I want to have there is a water feature. I want to have like a bird bath or a little fountain eventually, as I get money to be able to spend on my cottage garden. And really what I would like for my cottage garden is I would like to have a little boxwood hedge right here where I have the lobularia. But until I can afford it, the lobularia looks beautiful there. I like it. So I have dahlias. Oh, Veronica. I have a Veronica right here in the front. A heliotrope that I'm kind of babying along that doesn't look so good. They're just annuals here, so it will eventually end up going away, and I'll just have to get a new one next year. I just like to put lobularia by the front door because it smells so good. Oh, lobularia smells good too, but I meant the heliotrope. I have a couple of pots at the front door, some grass that I need to trim up again, then a big pot with some geraniums and some million bells, and some stock that I'm saving the seeds because I'm going to replant that. Oh, it was a beautiful lavender stock. And a little pot over here that I need to get busy and plant. I didn't like the way the million bells were looking, towards the end of the season, so I pulled them all out, and the place was infested with earwigs. So that's why they were looking terrible. But now I bought some new plants, and they'll look good for the fall because it has the orange in there. So that is my cottage garden. Oh, and in the back over there, see that azalea? I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to put a hydrangea back there. Maybe something that has really beautiful blue, probably a mop head. I'm not sure what kind I'll end up getting, but that azalea just, all the azaleas around here except for one variety, I just fight with spider mites, so it's not even worth having them. And I love hydrangeas. So there it is. There is my cottage garden. A long time ago there was an azalea in here and a huge hydrangea that was like about 9 feet tall. I'm not kidding. It went way above that window and only bloomed in one spot. So this spring I dug that out of there. So even though I really like my cottage garden this year, I have some changes that I'm going to make next spring. But for this year, it looks beautiful, and I really love it. I hope you have a great day, and see you in the garden.